And our first topic here is space planning. And we're really going to talk about it a lot tomorrow during class during our virtual field trip, as long as everything goes as planned. A little nervous about making my technology work out there. Um, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm flexible tomorrow. So space planning, basically, how do you arrange rooms in a home if it's up to you to decide how the rooms are placed around in the home? And also, how do you arrange furniture in each individual room? Those are all things that we're going to talk about for space planning. Remember to write these things down. There's no pictures in this one tonight, just words. So as home, it is broken up into 3 zones. You have private zones, you have public or social zones, and you have work or service zones. So any area in your home will be one of these types of zones. In some cases, it's 2 of these types of zones, but not very, very often. And it's important for us to, when we design the layout of a home, to put like zones together. Like, for example, you're going to see that a private zone would be a bedroom. You try to sleep in that. A public zone would be a kitchen. You don't sleep in there. Would it be a great idea to put a bedroom beside a kitchen when you're going to be noisy in the kitchen, but someone's trying to sleep next door in a bedroom? No, that would not be the best idea. It would be a good idea to separate those zones. So you want to try to kind of lump all your private zones together in one spot, all your public zones together in another spot, and all your work and service zones together in another spot. So that's the whole purpose of this. So first set, private zones, will be just bedrooms and bathrooms. This is your smallest list. These are the only rooms in a home that are private, meaning not everybody is welcome in these. If your random aunts, uncles, and cousins and their friend come over to your house, are they welcome in your bedroom and your bathroom? No. If you're using the bathroom, are they welcome to come in on you and it's okay? No. It's private zones. They are just for you, for one person. Not everybody is welcome there. Okay? That's how you figure out if it's a private zone or not. Next set would be public or social zones. This is another one of those terms in this class that's referred to in 2 different ways, public or social. They mean the same thing. However you want to think about it, just don't get tripped up. If you remember it as public, but then they call it social on tests sometime, you need to know that it's both things. So a living room is definitely a public zone, meaning that you would hang out with people in this room. It is okay for your aunts and uncles and cousins and their friends to come into your living room anytime, as long as you invited them to your house. That's where they would hang out. That's where they would be welcome. It is public. Anybody is welcome there. What is like a public space, a public school, a public park? That means that anybody is technically welcome there. That's the difference between public and private. Anybody's welcome there. A foyer or an entry, I don't know which way you guys know that term by, but like when you walk in your front door, it usually has just like it's a little area around it that's not another room, where you can kind of like gather your things to go out the door, or where you invite somebody in and the 4 or 5 of you can stand there and talk for a minute. That would be your entry or your foyer. It could also be like a back door or a side door that you come in. That would be another entry. That might be that same type of situation. Something else I want to add to this list that I forgot to, if you would please write it, is dining room. That's also pretty much public or social. Everybody's welcome in your dining room. It's social. You talk in it. You have fun in it. You might have parties there, dinner parties, games, whatever. Anybody's welcome there. It's not private. It's not like you have Sarah's dining room and you have Mike's dining room. It's everybody's dining room. Last section here, you can see that, is the work or service zones. Another one that's called by 2 names. So this is your biggest list because a lot of stuff happens in a home that's work or service. Kitchen, obviously, probably where we do the most of the work or service. Well, depends on your job in the family. That's where I do most of my work or service, I guess. meaning you're getting work done in that room. That is its main purpose. What is the purpose of a kitchen? To cook. That is its number one purpose. It has other purposes like to gather, to store stuff, just to house your food, things like that. But its number one purpose is to cook, which is a work. You're performing a service for people, cooking food. So think about a room's number one purpose. Other areas, laundry, which same thing like a kitchen, its number one purpose is to perform work or service, slash utility. Some people call it a utility room, and that's kind of a broad term. It could be a room where you've got like your washer and dryer, but you've also got like a utility sink and a hot water heater. Just a water heater. There's no hot. It makes it hot. Or it could be a room that's kind of like a mud room. Sometimes you refer to it as that. That's just kind of like a catch-all room when you come in from outside. It's not a very pretty room, and it might house like coats and old shoes and, the dog food and maybe laundry baskets, whatever. So that's another one that's made for work or service, not public, not private. Office is another one. You do work in an office, period. That's purpose is to sit down and get some work done. You don't invite your friend over and like, hey, you want to come hang out in my office tonight? It's going to be a good party. No one does that. It's weird. So that's totally to get work done. And last one will be your garage or your basement, whatever one you have and use for getting work done, performing service. You work on your car, you work on your other toys, your motorcycle, your four-wheeler, your side-by-side, whatever you got. Or your tools, your saws and stuff in there. That's totally for getting work done, performing service. Okay, so then I hope that at some point during this you have said to yourself, well, doesn't this room fall under more than one? Sorry if I took your question for tonight, but yeah, some of them can fall under two different categories. Not very often. The one I've got here starred is kitchen over there in the work service column. Because what else could a kitchen be? Its number one category based on its number one use is work because its purpose is to cook. However, remember we just said that it has other purposes too. Like you hang out in your kitchen sometimes if you have people over. I mean, you might be cooking and there's people sitting at the bar of your kitchen talking to you while you're cooking. So then it's also a public or social space. Other rooms that can be public or social. Your office could, be inviting to other people, but it's not going to be just private. Same for garage. People are welcome there, but it's not its sole purpose. Its number one purpose like that. But then like dining, foyer, living, those are just public and social spaces. You're not going to do work in there. I don't know what you would do in there. That's not their purpose at all. It's not even one of their secondary, tertiary purposes. So know that some of them can fall in other categories, but not very often. So I'm going to stop at this slide just to give you this thought for tomorrow. This is how tomorrow's video will start. How are zones related to each other by their floor plans? And we kind of hinted on that at the beginning about how you're going to lay out a home, because you want public areas together, private areas together, and work areas together. It's really important. And then tomorrow when we do our virtual field trip, it's a very interesting laid out home that we're going to be visiting. But we'll look at how some of the ways they have grouped their zones together in a good way, and some things that they shouldn't have done about the way they group their rooms, at least in my opinion, and based on these rules that I just shared with you. I don't think the homeowners will be there. They said they weren't going to be, but if they are, I'm not going to bash their place. We'll talk about it after the fact. It's a really cool house, but I wouldn't put a bedroom close to a kitchen. We'll just say that much. Okay, so think of some questions that you can ask tonight, or just one question that you can ask tonight. Put in the question form. We will talk about it tomorrow a little bit on location for our virtual field trip, or I'll work in the answers into the field trip, whichever way it's going to work. Thank you.